This is for faggots.
Well, hi everybody. How you doing? Let me stop. It's your boy Kris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of On the Line. Let me adjust myself in front of my ring light and stuff. So yes, we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be predominantly a lot of LGBT news, but things is also going on in Hollywood and movies and things of that nature, including I want to give my thoughts on the new Mortal Kombat trailer. We got photos, we got all that good stuff. We're not going to play the trailer because I don't want to get the video taken down off of YouTube. So if you guys are watching right now live on YouTube, hola, or if you've seen the show It's a Sin, hola. That's on HBO Max. You definitely check that show out if you haven't gotten around to watching. It's awesome. Anyway, we got news on Gina Carano. I got some Sacha Baron Cohen news. I got Laverne Cox news. I got some Love Victor news. Also, we're going to talk a little Sherry Pie because some more details have come out about that infamous interview on the Tamron Hall show. And I feel like from my thoughts of when I first watched it to the whole debacle of what was going on online, I kind of changed my mind about some things, or I have more to add to it, because when I first watched the video, I didn't really know what to make of it. Like, I was still trying to process everything, and I feel like now that it's been a couple of days, I think it's embedded in my brain. I have a better perspective and an analysis on everything that's going on. But so let's get right into it. So without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on Mortal Kombat. So the trailer finally premiered on Thursday, which I was like, it's about freaking time. I was a little annoyed that it took them so long to premiere the trailer, but I get it. They felt the need to do this because it's not until April that it's coming out. It's going to be on HBO Max, so not a lot of people are going to the movies, although I have heard rumors that AMC is going to start opening up their theaters in New York again starting sometime next month. But I don't know. I know, like, the coronavirus, infection rates are going down and people are starting to get vaccinated and things are slowly kind of getting back to normal. But honestly, I'm not necessarily sure I'm 1,000% comfortable stepping inside of a movie theater as of yet. Now, if some of my AMC friends, you know who you are, that y'all be sliding me up in to see a movie for free. If I'll probably feel more comfortable going with some of my AMC friends who work at the theater, and there's a lot of social distancing, and we're like not around a lot of people. Which, to be honest, we don't really hang around. Like, whenever we pick our seats and stuff at the theater, we're not really around a lot of people anyway. So if we maintain the protocols and all the other stuff, I think everything will be fine. But if it's a little too, like, if it's one of those sold out, overtly packed theaters, I don't know, my anxiety will start to get the best of me. So I feel like it'd take me a while to transition into, like, the old, going back to the way things were, even though we have a vaccine that's kind of curing everything. But then we got the super virus that I've been hearing about, so it's got me a little worried yet again. So nevertheless, Mortal Kombat trailer premiered, and I actually liked it. Like, I liked seeing all the fatalities and stuff in the Red Band trailer. I definitely loved hearing, the infamous "get over here" and all the other stuff. Like, I liked all the things. They checked all the boxes that were that you would expect from a Mortal Kombat movie. Um, and I felt visually it was giving me everything that I've always wanted to see in a Mortal Kombat film. Whereas, let's talk about the original one, the one that Paul W. S. Anderson, who went on to direct a bunch of the damn Resident Evil movies and things of that nature. I did love the first movie when it came out in the '90s. Don't get me wrong, when you watch it now, you realize how bad that movie is, and the acting is, and the writing is atrocious. But that soundtrack was everything. The fight sequences were really cool. Like, for what it was at that time, Mortal Kombat, the original film, is an awesome movie. Don't even get me started with Annihilation. I don't even acknowledge that piece of crap. First of all, y'all done changed up the characters. They're always so quick to kill Johnny Cage off. I don't know why they do that, but they did it. One of the things I was also surprised about was the fact that we don't even see Johnny Cage in this movie, which I know a lot of the fans are upset about, that Johnny Cage is not going to be in this movie, that they have some new character by the name of Cole Young, played by Louis Tan, who I love. If you've been watching, a couple of times I have swooned a bit over Louis Tan, and I've been following Louis Tan's career for a long time. Like, I love him on Into the Badlands. That was a great show that I'm still upset that was canceled by AMC, but they're all about The Walking Dead, that tight-ass show. That show's been on too damn long. Thank God this final season is about to start pretty soon. But to me, for them putting all their eggs in the basket of The Walking Dead, it just irritated me that they didn't really put a lot of energy into supporting their other shows. And I really don't think that Into the Badlands got the justice and promotion that it deserved when I was tuning into that show. So I loved Louis Tan from that show. I also loved him on Wu Assassins. I don't know what's going on with that show over on Netflix, but nevertheless, he's coming over and he is the central character in this film. And rumors I've heard is that he is sort of some descendant of Scorpion. I don't know how necessarily true that is, because we did see the Flash. If you watch in the trailer, a Flash when he's looking in the mirror, and you see a flash of Scorpion, played by oh my god, I forgot his first name, but it's last name is Sonata. He was in oh my god, what's that show? Oh yeah, I love this picture of Melina. I know some people are upset that Melina is played by a black woman, but who gives a damn? I don't mind that they, change up characters and stuff like that. But Hiroyuki Sanada is his name. But he also played in what's that show? That comes on HBO. Like, all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank. Westworld. That's where he's from. So yeah, he's from Westworld. I love him on that show, and I like him in a lot of action stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know a lot of people are like, well, this movie could be crap. It could be. But are we watching Mortal Kombat? Are we expecting that to be Shakespeare? No, I'm sure that the script is probably going to be trash. I mean, to be honest, I'm sure a lot of you probably don't know this, but the script was written by the same people who wrote Wonder Woman 1984, and I think that movie was absolutely terrible. I hated the script for that movie. It was all over the place. I already gave my critique of, you can watch all YouTube video. It's up there on my channel where I talked about Wonder Woman 1984, and the same people wrote the script for this. So I'm not even expecting Shakespeare when it comes to this. I just want to see some cool fights, some special effects, and some fatalities. And that's that. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing Mortal Kombat. I can't wait for it, and it's going to be a hard R. I know, well, to get back to the whole thing about Louis Tan playing a character by the name of Cole Young, I think that I'm not bothered by it. I mean, to me, I look at Johnny Cage being in it. Johnny Cage was sort of a sarcastic, comedic character, and I think the direction they're going in is this is taking more of a serious turn when what they're doing with this film. So I don't feel that him being a part of this fits in it. Now, maybe if they want to bring him along for the sequel, they could do that. But I look at it as this Cole Young character, whether or not if he is a descendant of Scorpion, or maybe he's connected in some sort of way, maybe they share a bloodline or this, that, and the third. We'll see how that happens. Maybe he is, maybe there's a situation that he is Scorpion's son. I don't know. I don't know what the plot is. We'll find out when the movie comes out. But regardless of the fact, I feel like it's great to bring in an entirely new character to give us a perspective into a supernatural world like Mortal Kombat from a completely new and different character. It's kind of the same direction they did with Alice in the Resident Evil films. Although those movies, we can debate on whether or not, some of them are horrible. which they are, and some of them, and they don't even follow their own timeline and lore and all that other stuff. And everything that goes on with that. But I don't mind when they create an entirely new, different character to be a part of a cinematic universe. I was talking to a friend of mine who says that they should make Mortal Kombat into a series where you could just follow all these different, because there's so many characters that you have to bring in it that it's going to be too much for a movie. And I kind of agree with that. Like, I would love if HBO or HBO Max would have done like a movie. I mean, a TV series based on Mortal Kombat. That would have been really cool if they would have given them the budget to do something like that. Sort of like what they were doing Into the Badlands and the martial arts and all that other stuff, and then make that into a series. I would like to have seen that, but they didn't go in that direction. So we'll see what happens. Or maybe if they don't do a series, I'd like to see them do a Mortal Kombat cinematic universe in the veins of what we see with the MCU, with DC, and all that other stuff. So I'm excited for this new movie. I'm excited for Mortal Kombat. I'm not expecting it to be great, but I just want to be entertained and see a lot of fatalities and the hearts being ripped out. And particularly, I'm really looking forward to that really cool shot of Scorpion, getting his blood removed from him by Sub-Zero, and then Sub-Zero freezes it and turns it into a blade and stabs him with his own blood. Like, I thought that was a really cool sequence, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. So yeah, Mortal Kombat, I'm definitely here for it. Now let's move right along to former MMA star and former The Mandalorian actress, Gina Carano, who pissed off a lot of people with a lot of her tweets and stuff. Particularly, they felt she made some transphobic comments, and she said a lot of things in regards of the coronavirus, and she's been spewing a lot of Republican GOP propaganda, and has pissed off Disney. So she was basically, one of the things that had happened that people are talking about is back in September of last year, they felt that she was mocking trans people by adding boop, bop, beep to her Twitter profile in place of she, her, they, them, he, him pronouns. And she said, and what was said was that fellow Mandalorian actor Pedro Pascal, who is a firm LGBT ally, and who recently revealed that his sister is transgender, helped her understand why people were putting them pronouns in their bio. So now Carano insisted at the time she wouldn't be putting her pronouns in her bio.
That's weird.
Oh, hey, Cardi. She said she wasn't putting pronouns in her bio and paying it as a stand against bullying. Now, here's the thing. If she don't want to put any kind of gender pronoun in her profile, that is her business. If you want to put something in your profile, you go ahead and do that. I'm sick of, and I'll say this, I don't like when people try to strong arm or bully people into doing something they want to do. Everybody has a right to make whatever decision they want. Just like Gina Carano says that she didn't want to apologize, and she has every right to do that. And Disney has every right not to work with her if they don't want to comply to, if she doesn't want to comply to their rules. Now, whenever you work for a particular company, you have an image to uphold. If you're going to make comments based on race, on gender, on sexual orientation, whatever the case is, you have to know that when you say things that you believe personally and you offend people, you are there to represent a company, and Gina is there to represent Disney. And Disney is not going to stand by and lose money over someone who is spewing propaganda and making what they feel are transphobic or negative comments for people who are different than her. So whether we want to like it or not, there's a such thing called free speech. And you have to realize with free speech comes responsibility. And the repercussions of that free speech, if it affects people, Disney has the right to do whatever they want. And they had every right to fire her. So she can't be mad over that. And she's supposed to be making some movie with oh my God, I forgot his name, that moron, the conservative moron that likes to jump in and talk about how much he hates Hollywood and stuff. Ben Shapiro, nobody's gonna watch or be into whatever it is that nobody's gonna watch that shit. Like her, I feel like at this point, she is blacklisted, her career is done. I don't know if it's gonna be at the level. I do agree. Like I feel like at times, you know what, if only they would do the same to that heifer Nutmeg McCain over at The View, that'd be, we'd all have a better time in it. She's like, well, we need another Republican voice on the show. Honey, we've been trying to get a new Republican voice on the show. Just waiting for her to say her part.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, what the fuck is going on? So, Carano said that she wouldn't be putting her pronouns in her Bible and said it was a stand against the okay, that's right. So now in a new interview published on the 15th of this month, she told Vice that Disney asked her, well, she didn't interview. So she said that Disney asked her to issue an apology they had written in the wake of the Twitter scandal. And Carano refused to use the pre-written apology and Disney countered it. She said, early on last year, before the Mandalorian came out, they wanted me to use the exact wording for the apology for the pronoun. I declined to offer a statement in my own words. She said, I made it clear I wanted nothing to do with market the transgender community and was just drawing attention to the abuse of the need in forcing people to put pronouns in their body. Okay, so that's one thing. I get it. If she basically said, you know what, I'm doing this as a role because people can force me to put something in called a under the food, that's when this is something that is unflattering. And she also allowed the Lucas from the event to her self-pressing promotion for the show. And she said that was part of the articulate take away from the hard work of everyone who was in the content for that had. That was a lot of content without any type of public statement or public speaking. I found out through social media like everything else that I've been fine. So, well, this is from the people who they said they contacted the different they consent. But here's the thing, she also went on to say things that she was concerned being a Republican being Georgia. And you know, it's also just try to can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I don't know what happened, but apparently there was a glitch in the matrix. That was a very short recess. Um, so yes, continuing. I don't know where the audio cut off, but we'll continue. I'll just start not over, but I'll just start where I think may have been cut off. But anyway, so Gina was fired from her role as Cara Dune on The Mandalorian after she shared a post where she compared being a Republican to being Jewish during the Holocaust. Now, even if you're trying to make any kind of comparison, the words Holocaust and Jewish sets people off. So you even trying to use that in a sentence as a comparison, that's automatically going to get is apparently going to get everybody pissed off. So she says that because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? Well, people disliking someone for their views on politics, there's a difference with that. The Nazis were going out killing people off of just being themselves. It's no different than you hanging black people for being black, which is what racists did in their white robes and their hoods, or being persecuted for being gay, which still happens in this country. You having the right to your political beliefs has nothing to do with that. It's not the same thing because you're not being killed for your beliefs. So for her to sit and say that is just ridiculous, to compare being a Republican to being a Jew in Nazi Germany. It's just bullshit, especially when a lot of stuff you're saying is pretty much propaganda and not true, especially when you're talking about things like, all the crazy stuff that she said. You could all look it up and Google. I ain't got time to sit here and explain it. But the fact of the matter is, so I'm on her side with the whole gender thing. Like, nobody should be forced to write their pronouns or tell you what their pronouns are, whatever the case is, on the internet if that's not something you're comfortable doing or you don't want to do. You could just do whatever you want. It's your page, it's your personal profile, and people follow you, and you can put whatever you want in your own shit. But when you start saying crazy stuff that affects an ensemble show, which I absolutely love Gina Carano on that show, and I seen she had so much potential, and she just fucked it up because she started saying all this stupid shit. And she feels like her freedom of speech is being jeopardized because she's not conforming to what Hollywood is doing. And I don't believe that it was just that one little incident about the gender pronouns, the straw that broke the camel's back at Disney. They have told her countless times about the stuff and the propaganda she's been posting on social media, and she didn't listen. So she's been given numerous amount of chances. James Gunn wasn't given any kind of chances when he was fired at Disney, but then they went and rehired him because, of course, DC went and snatched him up, and he went to do what was it? Oh my God. I was like, why am I thinking Justice League? Because that movie's coming right around the corner. So when he's doing his movie, the upcoming ensemble film that, oh my God, I completely, why am I drawing a blank? But whatever. You know the new James Gunn damn movie that he has coming out. For those of you that are watching, you could type it in, help the brother out. I don't know. I just drew a blank. But anyway, so yeah, she said, he brought it up. He said, these aren't trolls. These are people trying to educate you so you can get on the right side of history. So is she calling somebody a troll? In my experience, screaming at someone that they are racist when they are indeed not a racist, and any post or research you do will show you those exact facts. But I'm sorry, these people are not educators. They're cowards and bullies. But I'm trying to understand what she means when she says, what does she say that has deemed her racist? So, yeah, we have the whole thing about they're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show my support for trans lives. Every month, after months of harassing me in every way, I decided to put 3 very controversial words in my bio: beat, bop, boot. I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to find less abusive representation. So if she's not transphobic, she's not transphobic. She said she's not. And I guess this is her way. That was just her way of going against the negativity of people. Don't feed into it. We'll see if she bounces back in the industry. I don't think it's going to happen. That people are going to want to mess with her after everything that went on, and her not, a lot of the controversial stuff she says. I mean, I loved her as Cara Dune. It's unfortunate she's not coming back as Cara Dune. I thought that character suited her and fit her really well. I would have loved to have seen the spinoff happen, but it's the way the cookie crumbles. It is what it is. So let's move on. So Sacha Baron Cohen, was set to start. I don't know if you guys remember this, but he was supposed to start in the original. He was supposed to play in the original Bohemian Rhapsody idea. And it was formed around 2010 with the Borat star originally attached to play Freddie Mercury before dropping out over creative differences. Now, the original version of the film would have been titled Freddie Mercury and directed by Stephen Frears, who told Vulture Sacha wanted to make a very outrageous film, which I would imagine Freddie Mercury would have approved of. Instead, we got this watered-down, boring-ass film that recently came out where Rami Malek won a freaking Oscar because he didn't offend nobody, and it didn't offend the bandmates. So, I'm going to be honest, I didn't even like the last Bohemian. I did not like Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought the movie was boring. I didn't feel like it truly captured the essence of Freddie Mercury. I felt like we got some Disney-fied MTV version of him. And to me, it just felt like we just got a watered-down, flamboyantly gay man because y'all didn't want to offend straight people. Y'all wanted to get everybody, you kind of wanted to get everybody, the children of all ages in this film to see it. So I didn't like it. I haven't even gotten around to seeing the Elton John movie, but I heard that movie was way more outrageous than the Bohemian Rhapsody film. But it says what they mean in outrageous, they said in terms of his homosexuality, and outrageous in terms of endless naked scenes, and Sacha loved all of that. So Bohemian Rhapsody has recently hit headlines again after Korean broadcaster SBS decided to blur its gay kisses out for being too risque. But the broadcaster defended the decision, saying it was because the film was shown at 8:40 p.m. and aimed to draw in family viewers. Well, here's the thing. If y'all have a problem with the time that in which it was airing, you could have put it on later. And I didn't even know that we were still caught up in a time where, but I guess in certain places of the world that y'all are still conservative. But I didn't know that we still were freaking out over the fact that certain things that you see at a film at a certain time were very offensive to families. As if gays don't be raising families themselves. But I forget, in other countries outside of America, they're far more conservative, particularly in Asian climates. So the broadcaster defended the decision, saying it was because the film was shown at 8:40, and they also added that the kiss scenes were very long, and that they would also have censored heterosexual kissing. Well, we know that's a goddamn lie. Y'all not censoring nothing. But with men, it is. And I didn't know that y'all was sitting there looking at your watch when it came down to how long so-and-so was kissing. So back in 2013, Sacha Baron Cohen went and pulled out of the movie. I would have liked to have seen Sasha's take on it. And I would have really liked the fact that we could have gotten that side. Like, to me, I really want to see a biopic about a gay artist where they're unapologetically themselves and not watered down or straight washed. How, you know, we have a lot of films that when it comes to Black people, we always got to have that white savior. A lot of us find that offensive. Right now, Black stories are finally getting told the correct way without the whole white savior complex or being watered down. Or I'd like to see an actual depiction of queer art, not like that mess that Roland Emmerich directed, where you had a full-on white man throwing a brick in through the window at Stonewall. We all know goddamn well it was no white cis male that threw that first damn brick. But you want to change up history because you want to fit a certain narrative. So to me, when y'all want to sit and straight wash certain things because you don't want to offend people, we all knew Freddie Mercury was a big old queen. You have to let the man do, or the story be told the way that it needs to be told. But he's dead. He's not here to tell his own story and defend himself. All you had to do was go on the word of the people that worked with him in Queen, and now they have Adam Lambert as the new lead, so they can make their Queen money. So, you know, it was great that Rami Malek went and played the role and won all his awards, and they wound up winning 4 Academy Awards, 2 BAFTAs, 2 Golden Globes, and a SAG. You know, they got all that other stuff. And then we all knew that it was, you know, wrapped around the whole drama of Bryan Singer went and directed it, but then they pulled him out because of everything. So it is what it is. It would have been great to see that movie. Who knows? Maybe down the road we'll get to see it. I keep pushing for this, but we really need a movie on Sylvester. I'm wondering, when is somebody going to actually put together that film? I don't know how also this is true, but sidebar, I remember hearing a story about where Samson McCormick was talking about the upcoming, and there's some drama surrounding this B-Boy Blues movie. Apparently he said they're trying to take the movie from him. Now he's a behind the scenes producer and all this other stuff that's been going on with this movie, but I did see something or another on his Facebook where he was insinuating that, you know, throughout his career, he's always had people coming in and trying to take up, oh yes, B. Slade would be a perfect choice to play Sylvester. I would love to see a Sylvester movie. We definitely need to get that. I mean, Sylvester is a pioneer within the gay community, and you know, it's Black History Month, so we should celebrate him and his music as well. But I did hear something another, and I need to follow up on that. So if anybody in the stratosphere has heard anything about this, fan out on that. But I did see something another because somebody asked when I was scrolling through my Facebook, so what's Jussie Smollett doing? I'm like, directing B-Boy Blues. And somebody wrote that Samson McCormick told me that they trying to snatch his movie from him and all those others. I'm like, first of all, I didn't know it was his movie. I know he's a part of it. I know he's producing. And whatever the behind the scenes tea is, well, child, if I can get an interview with James Earl Hardy and Jussie Smollett, that is a question I will be asking. So I'm definitely keeping my eyes on this situation and everything that's going on. So yeah, that was that was just some tea that I had to slide in there for a second. So yes, anybody watching, y'all can find out, fan out, and come back to me with the information. So speaking of trans, let's talk about Laverne Cox. So I'm sure y'all heard that Miss Thing has revealed that she is in a relationship. She's been in a relationship with a new boo since January, and has been dating this guy for about 6 months. But she's kept it on the wrap. She said she has no plan to make the partner public. She also revealed that he's 20 years younger than her, where she's 48 and he's 28. Child, that's some good melanin up in Miss Laverne Cox, because 48, she don't look it at all. She really doesn't. She admitted that when it comes to dating as a Black trans woman, there's a lot of misunderstanding and transphobic stigmas remain a real issue when it comes to finding a partner. She says it's so weird. And then she said between bursts of laughter, she says, we had a conversation because I'm trying to keep him out of the spotlight, so I would try not to say too much. And she says, yes, he's technically 22 years younger than me. The age difference has not been an issue. It's just really hard to find someone that you really connect with. It's hard to find love. I'm a 48-year-old Black trans woman who's kind of famous, and I feel like it's a miracle that I found love again. Well, I know it's hard to so that must have been recent, because I did not see. I've been out of the loop with The View for the past couple of episodes, so I didn't know that she appeared on the show recently. Oh no, that was or that's because I'm looking at the clip that I saw her on The View. I don't know if that was this week or it's an old, because I'm like 3 episodes behind. But nevertheless, she says that stigma is a real issue when dating as a trans person, and the misunderstanding that is seemingly a given is in no way new. But the solution, she says, is another simple one. She says it's been really hard. Historically, a lot of men who are attracted to trans women, there's a huge stigma around it. A guy I've talked to recently said that if he told a friend he likes trans women, he was like, why can't you just be gay? Well, that's because people who date or in love with trans women aren't necessarily trans women. I mean, what am I talking about? First of all, people, I said not necessarily trans women. If you are a man who is in love with someone who identifies as a trans female, that doesn't make you gay. Unless, everybody has their own preference and identities and pronouns and things of that nature. So I know it gets confusing. There are some people who are a guy who dates a trans woman that are bisexual or gay, whatever the case is. But if you are a heterosexual man who is into dating a trans woman, she is a woman, therefore you are not gay. So whatever it is that, I know a lot of people try to simplify things and make it so easy for them to understand and want to sit and put a label on things and this, that, and the third. But things don't work in the context of what you want it to. So I feel like the more we expose trans people, relationships, things of that nature, and the more we talk about it, the easier it will become for people to understand. Like, I literally had to block someone that I used to work with at AMC on Facebook because they wrote something or another. I think it was Joe Rogan. There was an interview that he did where he called Fallon Fox, who I believe is a trans boxer, female, so that you are a man. And she reposted it with the words agreed. And I was like, blocked. Because I'm not no. I'm not even giving you a chance. That shit doesn't fly with me. If you say anything remotely negative towards people within the community, I cannot stand behind you. I don't even want to hear your explanation. I don't even want to have this conversation. We're just done. So, shout out to Laverne. I like the fact that she is dating. And you know what? We need to change the mindset of a lot of people, including a lot of straight men. And for my trans sisters, you should don't know. Look, I don't ever want to see y'all try to take all of this in as you don't accept the fact that you are a secret, just a man who fetishizes you and this, that, and the other. It's like, you know what? There are terms when I want to date, I want to be in a relationship, I want to do all these things. And then you look at the males just want to have sex. And it's like, don't accept things from people because you want to be in a relationship. Don't settle for less. go out. It's going to be hard. There's a lot of, even in gay relationships or straight relationship, there are people that's like, I'm not going to put out. Like, I literally want a legitimate, long-standing relationship. I want to get to know somebody. I want us to like grow and take our time together, and then it leads into the sex. Everything doesn't always have to lead to fucking, and that's just something you're into. If there's something you're into, then go along with it. But for the most part, there's love out there for everybody. So moving right along. So yeah, good luck to you, girl. So moving right along, let's talk about one of my favorite shows from Disney/Hulu, Love, Victor. Now, I definitely love the show, and I'm looking forward to season 2. Speaking of which, oh my god, I totally forgot to bring this part of the show. I saw that they already started shooting the new season of the Umbrella Academy, and they show like a still of Elliot Page and all this other stuff, and they're wondering. I know a lot of people are still wondering. So y'all gonna make her character Vanya? Is she gonna become trans and all this other stuff? We don't know. I don't know. They probably will change the show around her character. I have no idea. I'm just looking forward to the new season because I love Umbrella Academy, and shout out to Elliot Page. So I just want to throw that out there. So now back to Love, Victor. So he is opening up the lead star. Michael Cimino, who plays Victor, he's opened up about the bullying he endured following the debut of the show. Now, Cimino claims to have received homophobic messages from social media, including harassment from people he knew. Now, the show debuted in June of last year to positive reviews and viewership. Now it continues the chronicle of the world of the Simonverse, a fictional universe that has its first screen incarnation with the film Love, Simon, and several characters from that movie appear in Love, Victor, including Keenan Lonsdale. I love the episode when Victor sneaks off and goes to New York because he wanted to talk to Simon, and Simon wasn't there. But Simon shows up at the end, and he kind of gets this moment of like. So when it gets to that point, if y'all want to spin it off, I would love to see a Love, Victor situation where they take more of the grownish route. Where they had the daughter where she went off to college, and that's all. Like, I would love to see them kind of take that. He becomes this fish out of water in New York, and then starts to try to date and find relationships and mess up, and you do with the whole deal of what it's like to be a young gay man in a crazy world of what it is. But I like the show and what it's done, and he was basically saying like coming out as being a part of this show where he's a straight actor playing a gay role, that straight actors can play a gay role, but if you come from a place of honesty and playing the role as if like what Anne Hathaway said on RuPaul's Drag Race, like whatever character that you're playing, remember these are real people that you're playing, and bring it from a place of love and honesty. And even if you can't relate to being gay, have conversations with people who are maybe your gay friends or your gay family members, and take from that and bring that to a character. Because, excuse me, as an actor, you're always taught to like, even if you are not, you say for instance, you're playing a Russian or you're playing another character with an accent, whatever the case is, just remember that just take it from a place of maybe someone you met in your life, and you can just pull from that and bring that honesty to the character. And that's what makes a convincing person or convincing character that you're playing. So he said this. He says that there was a private struggle that he faced following the show's debut. He says, to be honest, I actually have gotten homophobic messages. This is what he told Attitude. The crazy part is that it's sometimes from people I know. I think it shows where the world's at and possibly how much this show is actually needed. It starts a conversation, and that's the most important thing. He also added that he pushed back against the harassment by offering a bit of education on LGBTQ issues, and says the best thing to do is try to educate them or realize that they're ignorant and you can't really say anything that's going to help them, unfortunately. Now, in the same interview, Cimino's co-star George Sear added that he had not received any kind of homophobic harassment for his role in the show. In the series, Sear plays Victor's love interest, Benji. He said, the response has been nothing but positive from what I've seen. It's really nice and touching getting messages from people who watched the show and it resonated with them. Now, we don't know when Love, Victor is going to air the second season, but with COVID and everything, things have been postponed and held back and stuff. But I'm actually looking forward to the new season. I'm hoping because, the first season was filmed through Disney Plus. They had to water down things a little bit, but now that they're over at Hulu full time, I think Hulu can do more They can do more young adult stuff. So you can dive into what it means to be a gay kid and dating and how his family is going to take the fact that he just came out to them in the final moments of the season finale. And if they want to encounter things like drug use or bullying or, peer pressure, all the things that young kids go through. Um, they could take more of a young adult approach, being that they're on Hulu. Whereas Disney Plus, there's restrictions with a lot of stuff. Although I did hear that over in overseas, they are airing it on Disney Plus, which is weird. How they have like a more adult imprint that they're doing overseas versus in the United States, which I wish they would kind of do that here. Like, okay, we have Disney Plus, but we have like a imprint since Disney did buy Fox, and they have stuff. So that way, I would love there to be like a, I don't know, Disney Plus Red or Disney Plus Dark, whatever the hell y'all want to call it. Disney Plus Plus, I don't know, where y'all have something where we can see a lot of those Fox affiliate films and shows that are a little darker that we could, how they have FXX. So they could have something like that. And I would kind of like if they would have did that. So shout out to Michael and all that stuff. And yes, at the end of the day, I feel like all you can do is do the best you can and do the role and be honest with the role. And if people have a problem with it, you could, be an ally and speak out for those who can't, be a voice for the voiceless, speak for those who can't speak for themselves. And if people aren't willing to open up their eyes and their ears and understand and really come from a place of understanding, then I don't have time for you. Like, I'm going to tell you what I need to tell you. And if you either accept it or you don't. And if you don't, fuck you. Like, you're not going to stop, one little monkey ain't going to stop this show is basically all I got to say on that. So what I'm going to do is, at this point, we're going to take a little short break. And when we come back, we're going to wrap it up with two Tamron Hall interviews. One, she sat and spoke with Cordell Stewart, and he's reflecting on his time over at the Real Housewives of Atlanta. He was married to Real Housewives of Atlanta star Portia Stewart, and he was opening up about the whole, there was some gay rumors that resurfaced back in 1998 while he was playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to talk about that and then break down this whole Sherry Pie story that happened because Tamron also interviewed the next day Sherry Pie, and gay Twitter wasn't having it, including a lot of Drag Race alum from that season who were pissed off and others who were upset over this. I'm going to give my thoughts on that and a whole lot more. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more on the line.
This is for faggots.
He doesn't regret being in a marriage with him, but of course, why would you regret anything you do in life? You should never regret it. It should be a learning lesson. You go for it and don't do the same shit again. So like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I need to see your reaction because I found out this tea like an hour before we went live.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it says spouses, friends, and loved ones need to stop defending the people who did unlawful things because you were treated differently. There's more to one side of absolutely. I'm sick and tired of people thinking
100%.
one side of a person. you brought up the whole Diesel Washington thing. Diesel has gone on social media and in the press and at a lot of the Gay Vienna Awards and stuff, and has complained many a times about racism in porn and that sort of things. Basically the same things we're all talking about. But I remember you went and brought up the fact that he's kind of played into the perpetuation of Black stereotypes, meaning the whole thug role that he's played in a lot of these mainstream white adult films. So I wanted to basically get your opinion on that. Well, you can let people know like how it all, you know, basically to set it all up, and then your thoughts and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, at one point we met in person, and I mean, he seemed cool, all right, but at the same time, I felt, yeah, he was playing that same role that you kept seeing for decades of a Black porn actor. He was this big guy who, you know, gym body and bald and dark skin. So, I mean, that's the it's mold that they seem to make of Black males in gay porn, where when they're featured with white and light skinned Latino porn actors. And so I kind of felt like basically like, how can you know, talk about the racism in the industry when you play this image repeatedly over and over and over again, and you're still playing it no matter what. You're not losing any, you know, you're not losing anything in the process.
Well, hello. Welcome back to On the Line. I'm Kris Avalon. Anyway, so let's get right back into things because we are live. And for those of you who are watching, hello, and how you doing? Anyway, on Tamron Hall's show this past Monday, and he's opening up about his time on The Real Housewives of Atlanta as Portia Williams' ex-husband. Well, they were married at the time. We saw that marriage was crumbling, you know, with our very own eyeballs during her debut season. And he also opened up about the rumors regarding his sexuality and how that became a talking point on the series. So now, I don't know, this story also, you know, the first time the story came out was back in 1998 when he was a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So on the Monday, February 15th episode, former Pittsburgh Steeler Cordell got candid and basically talked about a rumor back in 98 that falsely accused him of engaging in a lewd act with another man. Now, Stewart opened up about how the experience shaped him both personally and professionally, and also shared that he has no regrets about being on The Real Housewives of Atlanta alongside his former wife, Portia, even though it brought back those rumors back into the spotlight. Now, Stewart went and revealed whether he was hesitant to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta, knowing that the rumor could resurface. It says that show is all about storyline, and you draw for whatever or whoever the castmate or the characters, if you will, that are on the show, what they have been a part of. So there was a chance that the rumor may have seeped in, especially when you have producers. If you listen or you spoke or heard from people who have been on the show, how reality TV works. I know a lot of people say it's scripted. For the most part, it's not scripted. What it is I think we need to stop calling it reality TV and start calling it improvised television. You're basically not given a script, you're given an outline. So there's a situation where you could be like, okay, so for instance, because I'm trying to remember, I think when Portia first came on, Phaedra was still on the show. So let's use this as an example. So Kenya and Phaedra and Candy are having lunch together, and the producers will go, "Well, okay, Kenya, you're gonna go in and you're gonna have lunch with Candy. You're gonna have lunch with Phaedra, and this is the conversation that you're gonna drive to get the girls to get their opinion." I heard a rumor that. Remember, Portia, her ex-husband, and this, that, the other, and the rumors that he's gay, which I think that I heard them rumors. I don't know. It might be true, girl. What you think? Like, that's a whole other thing that they cook up with the show to get the reaction. So that way you start shooting and you get, the ratings come in and all this other stuff, and it ensues the drama. These shows, like the Real Housewives of Atlanta, are based upon drama. So that's the way reality TV works. You're given an outline, you're told you're going to meet here, shoot here. This is the conversation y'all going to have. That's what that is. You're not given a script where there's shit written on a cardboard on the side, and then you're basically just reading. Like, that's not what happens. It's basically improvised TV. It's improv. You're basically in a setup and you talk. That's basically what reality TV is. Now, we could have a whole conversation about how reality TV is starting to get a little stale because they want to sit and use the same tight-ass storylines and the same tropes and the same drama, and how reality TV on the internet is way better, especially when we have gay versions of Love and Hip Hop and the Real Housewives of Atlanta and stuff. When we have those on YouTube and things of that nature. So people aren't even watching TV anymore. And let's not even get excuse me. Let's not even get into the conversation about how the ratings on the Real Housewives of Atlanta are slipping because the season is boring. Like, I can't tell you, after the first 2 episodes of the season, I have not watched a single episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, although I am considering jumping in for the recent episode where they bring up the whole stripper and Portia and the rumors surrounding that whole situation, how there was a whole threesome and Portia out here licking women's boxes while she's in the room with said stripper and things of that nature. So I'm considering jumping in there just so I can be a part of that conversation. All the extra stuff that was going on in between the lead up to this, I don't care about. Unless I just want to sit and watch the reunion and get all the highlights then, like I did with Potomac. So now they're asking, when asked if he had an impact on whether it had an impact on his marriage with his then wife, here's what he said. He said, no, we were married. That never was the impact at all. That was true love at the time. But once you get on the show and things are starting to be insinuated, from the conversations about beards to me being controlling, it becomes a whirlwind of things, and she has her world that she's a part of. Well, you kind of were controlling when you were on the show, and there were certain things about you that I was not really feeling. He also went on and said whether or not he regrets being a part of the franchise. He says no, because in marriage there's 2 worlds. There's compromise and sacrifice. And sometimes with giving up yourself to your mate, you end up making decisions sometimes that can either make or break you. To be honest with you, if I had to do it again, I probably would not do it, but I'm not ashamed of doing it because I was really doing it for her, because it was her opportunity to be on this stage in which she's on right now, and I'm happy for her. He also spoke about why he decided now was the time to tell his story in a recent op-ed, which I find hilarious that, I said, well, maybe this is a doth we protest a little too much situation where he's feeling in an op-ed, I need to write a whole op-ed about my sexual orientation because people saying I'm gay and it's not true. My thing is, if people are going to believe what they want to believe and people are going to insinuate what they want to insinuate, I'm not going to write a whole damn op-ed because my sexuality is on the line. Like, you're not working anymore. Who cares? Even though, quiet as it's kept, there are things where it's in. Oh, why is Megan Thee Stallion popping up here? What's she about to say? facial expression pretty much says it all. Like, I don't, So he says, why not? When you look at society and where we are right now as a country, whether it's politics, racism, whether it's systemic racism, bigotry, however you choose to preface it, this is a time where, as opposed to 1998, this essay was put on the Players Tribune or in any newspaper, I think it would turn two blind eyes and deaf ears. But today is a time where it's imperative that, like we're doing right now in this country in 2021, we're talking. When it comes to the kids that I coach and parents that may have been a part of that era, they're getting an opportunity to hear and to know that, hey, regardless of what they say about you, as long as you know who you are, continue to push and to fight and stand your ground, take a brace and be prepared to take yourself to the next level. So I do feel like, regardless of what you feel, and I've said the whole donkey protest a little too much situation, what I do like is that he is opening up a dialogue and starting a dialogue and opening up a conversation about gender, sexual orientation, especially when it comes to Black men who are athletes and who might be gay. Because quiet as it's kept, not all gay men, do hair and makeup and sew together an outfit and, do pop dips and spins in a freaking ball. Or at a ball, I should say. I love that whole world. I love the Vogue community. I love the femme queens. I love the butch queens. I like all the, that whole demographic. But there's so many other sides to the LGBT LMNOP community besides the stereotypes that the media likes to focus on. So I'm not saying that Cordell is a homosexual, a home of sexual. If y'all see that meme on social media, you know what I'm getting at. Home of sexual. He's not. I don't know if he is or not. I'm trying to do the whole, Wendy Williams diplomatic facial expression. But just to get the whole dialogue going, I think is the utmost importance. So kudos to him. So now moving right along, because this is probably going to be not a big, I don't think it's going to be a long one, but I just won't break it on down. So speaking of Tamron Hall, the interview that gagged everybody in gay Twitter, was none other. Oh, hey, Yuri, how you doing? Was none other than the whole Sherry Pie situation, which I was surprised by. I was like, oh, wait, y'all going to interview her? Let me tune in. Now, I don't get ABC. Well, I do get ABC because I have Hulu, but I just don't like the fact that the show doesn't exist on Hulu or any of the other networks. So, I'm a streaming service person. I don't have network television and I don't have cable or that stuff. I got streaming. So, Sherry Pie, aka Joey Googly Melly, appeared on Tamron Hall, and gay Twitter was pissed. And a lot of people from some of the survivors on to some queens from Drag Race, including Detox. I'm going to read y'all their tweets in a second. Pretty much tweeted out their disgust. Now, here's the thing. Now, me personally, I'm all for everybody telling their side of the story. I always say there's his side, there's the victim's side, and in between it somewhere is the truth. Sherry has admitted that he has catfished some people, that he has done some things where he pretended to be, a casting director and had people sending him videos of them pleasuring themselves, all in exchange to win a role in a movie that didn't exist. He's admitted to these things. But I feel like the conversation that should be had is, why would someone like a Sherry Pie do that? And he said he had borderline personality disorder. And then there's another conversation that we should have a conversation about, I feel, is about body image, especially within the LGBTQ community, where we look at gay men. If you don't look like Brad Pitt, if you don't look like, this Adonis, with the perfect body and the perfect hair follicles and drop dead gorgeous, then nobody wants to look at you. Which is why there's this deep-rooted insecurity within our community about youth and beauty standards and body image. And there are eating disorders that goes on with gay men as well. These are things that a lot of us don't talk about, but of course, with my big ass mouth, I'm gonna bring it up. So when you look at someone like a Sherry Pie doesn't fit what you would consider a standard beauty. So when you hear him say something like, I didn't want to lose these people as friends because maybe somewhere in his life he had always lost people that he connected with. And it was sort of like this thing of, I want to have these friends. I'm not excusing the behavior. What he did is absolutely deplorable. What he did is disgusting. And he should be punished for it. So if there's any punishments that come from this, where there could be some jail time, whatever the case is, whatever the laws are in regards to catfishing, he deserves what's coming to him. But I see like what bothered me about this, because I said like it's great to tell his story, was that I heard that the producers of the Tamron Hall show didn't even contact the victims to have this conversation, to bring them on and have their side of the story, and then have Joey come on and tell his side of the story. So and the reason why they said this was the producers said that the reason why they did not contact the we're going to play the clip in a second. So, but just to give you a little context, they said the reason why they didn't contact the victims is because they didn't feel that they would want to speak out, which doesn't make sense to me. Why would you think that someone who's a victim would not want to tell their side of the story, or that gay men wouldn't want to be out here telling their side? Hello, they were telling their side of the story all over social media. So if they were telling their side of the story on Twitter or any other social media platform where they could get a voice, and the gay blogs were interviewing them, I believe Queerty did the interview, and I believe New Now Next did the interview with the victims, because that's when I first heard about it, and I broke the story on my podcast last season, because when it all came out was around the time that Drag Race season 12 was airing, and it was like around January, February. I don't remember off the top of my head, but nevertheless, I'm sure they would want to tell their side of the story. So just to go to show that the Tamron Hall show had a certain narrative that they wanted to put out there before, they had a certain precedent to set. And this is my issue where I have with, I'm sick and tired of straight people telling our stories and trying to set a narrative. From, Tamron Hall to Wendy Williams, and so many of you that are out here tonight. So, and don't get me wrong, I get pissed off at the gays that do the same shit too, like the Andy Cohens of the world, who sit and tell our narrative, and you a gay man you telling our narrative through a straight lens because, you making $1 off of us by giving these straight people our lingo, using us as props from what he's done, which is why Bob the Drag Queen here drag his ass, because you want to use us as props on Watch What Happens Live. The gays are only, and drag queens are only good for sitting on in at the bar, but not sitting at the chair where you could interview them. And there's a lot of people from our community that are doing way more than these tight ass, housewives. But I understand you have something to do with your network. But nevertheless, I want y'all to get an idea, in case you didn't see the interview. I want you to see the interview where Tamron talked a bit with Joey, and then we'll come back with more of what I think of the whole situation of the Sherry Pie interview. So let's roll that footage. I try to swig my water. Ooh, is there a glitch in the Matrix? I gather so.
I have reached out to I've spoken to 3 of the victims, and I have spoken to them. 2 of them I still kind of speak to. One of them asked me no longer to contact them, and I totally understand that.
Are you worried about criminal charges, Joey? Because here's the deal, and we've done a lot of research. The catfish laws, if you will, are very loose out there, but there are allegations of financial fraud. There are allegations that in the hands of certain prosecutors could end up with either civil or potentially criminal investigations. Are you prepared for that?
I'm prepared to take any responsibility. Listen, when everything kind of happened, I'm not here to hide. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be somebody who was accused of something and who just kept denying. This wasn't something that I deep down felt good about doing.
Oh, well, hello, we're back. So one of the things is he says he didn't feel deep down, he didn't like doing what he did, but you did it, Blanche, you did it. Now, one of the things I did not like was in the disclaimer before the episode that Tamron compared this whole situation to Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly with those situations. But here's the thing, when you interviewing those, a lot of that was in response to documentaries that were centered around the victims who were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein and who were victimized by R. Kelly. There was no documentary based on Cherry Pie. The only thing that we have is the word of the victims who spoke out on social media around the time, I think it was before or the day of, when her episode was about to air. And then VH1 had to scramble and they had to start cutting out majority of her scenes. There were certain scenes that they couldn't cut out with her in it because it was too connected in the edit as far as editing goes with the other queens that were participating and performing on the show. So they couldn't cut but so much of her out, but you saw a lot of her scenes were chopped, and she was supposed to be top 4, but she was eliminated and there was a top 3, and we had my girl Jada 1 and that sort of thing. So to compare it to that situation, I just don't think was right. But Ben Shimkiss, who was one of his victims, wrote on February 15th that the conversation should center around survivors, not just around our perpetrators. We deplatform Matt Lauer, Harvey Weinstein, and Marilyn Manson because we recognize their capacity for violence. At Tamron Hall Show is platforming Cherry Pie because violence against queer people is too often normalized. And that's absolutely right. Y'all sit and think that it's just trans women that are getting victimized and abused. No, we go through it too. But we don't, want to deal with the fact of, and I've mentioned this numerous times, that if a man comes out and says that he was sexually assaulted and that he was abused, then you're man up. You're weak. You're this. Like, men are not supposed to speak out about sexual abuse. We even see it play out in episodes of Law and Order SVU. I be watching them old episodes. I'm currently on season 12, by the way. But, and we're in season 22. But I like rewatching a lot of these things. And I'm always trying to understand, like, why predators and people do what it is that they do. And to me, it's just like, we need to normalize the fact that people who are victims of a situation should be able to come out and speak out without the fear of being persecuted or called weak or girl or the F word or things of that nature. So he says, just so we're all clear on this, I spoke with producers at Tamron Hall Show and told them that I and the 20 victims that I spoke to today do not want them to air a segment with Cherry Pie. They're going to air it despite all of our requests. And the funny thing was, now I want to know who these 2 people that Cherry Pie has spoken to, because it seemed like all 20 victims was against it. So is Sherry lying? And one of the things I definitely want to give kudos to is Entertainment Week. Well, before we jump to the Entertainment Weekly thing, because this is where I truly had to give Tamron the side eye, I want to mention Jackie Cox. So Jackie Cox, who was on the season as with Sherry, says, I'm publicly calling out at Tamron Hall Show to reconsider giving Cherry Pie access to the platform of national television to tell their side of the story without first speaking with the victims of her abuses and allowing them to weigh in on their own trauma. And Detox went and jumped in and said, I think at Tamron Hall and at Tamron Hall Show should have at least invited the victims on for a segment. It's not too late. Also, I know I'm late AF, but that what really happened comment was yucky. I love investigative journalism, but it doesn't work without accounts from both sides. And that is the part that I agree with what Detox says. I love investigative journalism. I'm all for investigative journalism. I'm all for getting to all sides of the situation if it chronologically makes sense, which is why I think when I first watched the 12-minute segment with Cherry Pie, I was kind of baffled by everything. And I just had a hard time wrapping my head around everything, because to me, it just felt like there was a piece of the puzzle missing. And the piece of the puzzle was we weren't getting the side of the victims. And what also bothered me was that she decided to bring on a person, a blogger or something or another. I forgot his name. where they talked about racism within. Oh, it was a commentator by the name of Ryan Mitchell, and he discussed anti-blackness amongst drag race fandom. Now, don't get me wrong about the whole drag race fandom, because I've already had my trepidations, and I've said things that I've said about the drag race fandom. A lot of y'all are toxic as fuck. A lot of y'all don't understand it's a damn TV show that these queens are confined in a space for a month where they're shooting. They have no phone, they have no access to the outside world. They're literally on a set shooting a show day to day, and it's hectic, it's crazy, there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of y'all want to get so involved in the drama, like you going at Candy Muse or whatever the case is. Like, that's like, what is that supposed to get you? Is that going to get you an invite to the finale or whatever? Or you're going to become best friends with these people that you're defending on social media? To me, it's nothing more than an entertainment TV show where the drag part is secondary. The drama is ahead of, at the forefront. I watch it for the entertainment purposes and I move on. I'm not wrapped up in all the craziness and the bullshit. I'll make my little comments on social media and I move on, but I'm not in any way going at people like I know them in some sort of way. Like, I've come across a lot of these queens, I met them in passing, I had little brief conversations, but these are in no way people that I get so wrapped up in stuff that they're saying on a TV show, because I understand that it's a show and these people are, it is what it is with them. So, one of the things I had no idea about, because they said, now Entertainment Weekly, I want to point this out, is reporting that that this seems to be nothing more as a way for him to resurrect his Sherry Pie act. Now, the magazine said that he performed shows in Beacon, New York throughout last year. And the most recent falling happened in November of last year. And he also admitted to this. He said, it's just a space that I performed at twice. There's no money or anything like that. It was very limited, testing out material that I had been working on. It was very few people. It's a space that I know the person who owns it personally. It's not like a venue. He also added that he estimated only about 15 people in attendance for each show. But okay, regardless of the fact of how many people are there, the question remains, is Sherry... Ryan Mitchell. Oh, yeah. Do we need a comeback from someone like Sherry Pie? Does she deserve a comeback? I say if she's remorseful, maybe, but I feel like, you know what? You need to go underground and maybe you need to kill off the Sherry Pie character and resurrect yourself as a new queen. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think RuPaul's Drag Race ever wants to be associated with her. I don't think she'll ever be able to make a living or, benefit from the whole RuPaul's Drag Race situation. I don't think she will. I think the character is dead. I think that she'll probably have to find some little watering hole to do her act. And I'm sure there'll be people who will be curious and kind of want to look at a train wreck and want to see what it exactly is that Sherry Pie is doing as a performer. And that's that. I mean, I'd be curious to see what's going on with her, but would I go and actually go out to a club and see a Sherry Pie performance? I don't know if I would. Like, I'm not that thirsty to see a train wreck. Maybe if I was younger, I would. But I wouldn't at this point. And also, Entertainment Weekly did, since Tamron Hall wouldn't do it, they also featured interviews with several of Googly Millie's victims, all of whom criticized the Tamron Hall show for running the segment over their objections. The victims expressed their hurt at not being invited to share their stories on the show, making it a one-sided imbalance of Googly Millie's favor. The show did include a brief disclaimer acknowledging the backlash, saying Tamron seems very pleased with herself for having exposed a sexual predator who was actually able to admit the fact that this happened. But he did that a year ago in his Facebook apology. So this is what Ben Shimkiss had to say about this. I think we have a clip from Ryan Mitchell talking about what was going on with the whole Tamron Hall show. He was if I'm not mistaken, I did mention he was the blogger, correct? Let's play that clip.
After watching that interview, I want to make sure that the audience in the middle of America who is not familiar with the queer community, I want them to know that Joey, aka Sherry Pie, does not represent the LGBTQI plus community, right? And I think before anyone starts to kind of create these harmful narratives or stereotypes, we have to be very clear about that because language means
You are let me tell you something. Last night, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to do it. So here's the deal. Last night, I thought about when I used to watch the news with my parents and they didn't show the suspect, and suddenly we'd say, please, Lord, don't let them be black. Because we knew that the whole neighborhood was going to be painted by this one individual that we didn't even know.
Now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it. I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. If you have to have a disclaimer where you all think that we're all gay people are like Sherry Pie, you're a fucking idiot. I mean, it's common damn sense that not all of us are out being sociopaths, pretending to catfish people and forcing them to masturbate on social media. Like, I'm not going out doing that. Now, maybe we do need to address the fact that there's a lot of people out here who are so insecure with who they are as people that they have to catfish people because, like I stated before, certain beauty standards, when people don't look a certain way that society says this is the standard of beauty, then you have to go out and catfish people because you're not happy with the way you look, or you don't look up, your beauty is not up to the standards of what Hollywood says or the industry or the media says, that you have to have, you know, light skin and blonde hair and blue eyes, or you have to look exotic, which is, this seems to be a fetish, you know, people fetishize people who are exotic looking. So there's always these things of what people in their mind think that this is what the standard of beauty is because of what society and the media says that this is what the beauty standards are. So like I said with Sherry Pie is not your standard beauty. So with him having to go out and do all these things and things that stem from his childhood and all that other stuff, these are definite conversations that should be brought up and talked about. Now, the funny thing was Josh Lilliman, who Googly and Melly actually convinced to pleasure himself on camera during an audition, criticized the show for a follow-up segment featuring what you just saw with the commentator Ryan Mitchell, who discussed anti-blackness amongst Drag Race fandom. Now, I did say that I don't know what anti-blackness on Drag Race had to do with the fact of you doing an interview with a sexual predator and a catfisher. I don't know what that had to do with the conversation, but that's something completely separate. There is, like I've said, there is a lot of issues with how a lot of the fans of Drag Race are racist and toxic in a lot of ways, but then there's some who are really passionate and truly love the show. Not all of them are like that, but it seems like the trolls dominate a lot of the conversation with the bullying. Because I know a lot of y'all wouldn't say that shit to their face if you met them. So he says, if it was so easy to bring on a writer to talk about things that happened, how difficult would it have been to ask one of the victims to come on the show? And this is what Lilliman was wondering. Googly Melly, for his part, claimed he did the interview with Tamron to help in whatever way of healing the victims. I felt like I needed to apologize to the victims and to the masses. This isn't me launching my comeback tour, even though I did state that he was out testing material in, upstate New York at a club. He says, I'm not performing. I'm not seeking out gigs right now. I'm just trying to heal the wounds and I've caused the community because of how much I've hurt this community that I do love so much and how much I've hurt these people that I do love so much. Well, I did tell y'all that he was up here catfishing people up until his season of Drag Race aired. And that interview, the whole apology thing happened around that time. He was still catfishing people. So I don't believe that he is sincere in his apology. And I get that you're trying to change and do whatever the case is. I always say, I don't go by what you say. I go by your word. I mean, your actions. If you show in your actions that you are changing, then I'm for it. But I don't know if I believe it. I'll still just look and give the side eye or whatever the case is. And it also says that contrary to Googly Melly's assertions, Entertainment Weekly did discover that the drag queen has been working with public relations representatives to help tell his story and rehabilitate his image. His website has relaunched with a new merchandise section labeled Coming Soon. He is also apparently still represented by Spectrum Talent Agency for bookings. The agency also monitors his social media accounts. Now, shout out to Queerty for this expose because they really broke it down. They did an excellent job on breaking this down. If y'all want to see read the whole story, you can head over to Queerty and read that. Now, Queerty has reached out to Ben Shimkus regarding the aftermath of Googly and Melly's appearance on the Tamron Hall show and the subsequent pieces run by EW. He says, I cannot tell you the amount of anxiety I felt from the interview happening, he told Queerty in an exclusive interview. I have never felt my heart beat faster in my whole life. He went on to detail in the wake of the Tamron Hall interview, he had to endure renewed harassment and bullying on social media, something that started when he came forward last year. Joey deserves a comeback once he has shown even the smallest attempt at rectifying the hurt we all had. This is what Shimkus said to Queerty. He says, it doesn't look like the same rinsed and repeat apology I heard 5 years ago, just on national television. It doesn't look like a relaunch of a website with merch, and it doesn't look like hiring a PR team that somehow presents him as introverted. So, like I said, if it comes from, and that's why I said about the whole y'all trying to forgive Justin Timberlake, and even though that, you know, if y'all listened to the podcast earlier, I brought up old tweets that resurfaced when a person came out. This was around the time he asked when the whole Jesse Williams thing, and then Justin responded to it, but he did that speech at the BET Awards, and Justin responded, and people dragged him, was like, you gonna apologize to you know, everybody's still harassing him about that, and rightfully so. And one of a blogger actually asked him, would you consider apologizing to Janet? And he basically tried to shut him down over that. So I always say, unless it comes from a place of sincerity and remorse, because I can smell bullshit a mile away. I can always tell if you mean an apology, or if you're just trying to give me lip service to shut me the hell up. If it comes from a place of sincerity and honesty, and you really feel it in your heart, then I'm behind you 100% and all for, you know, whatever the case is. Now, he's got these people in the background that's helping him relaunch his career and go on his whole apology tour. If that's the case, if Sherry Pie comes back and relaunches, you either have the choice of wanting to go see her perform, or you don't. I choose not to support Sherry Pie. Now, if you want to support her, good luck to you, and just let me know how the show was, because I'm nosy. So, on that note, thank you all for watching this episode of On the Line. We got to wrap it on up because it was a whole lot of topics to get to. Tune in next time for a brand new episode. I'm going to be bringing a lot more. I know y'all done missed me because I haven't done any interview shows in a while. But definitely check out WNKIKI TV. Wednesday Night Kiki is another show. It's on another YouTube channel. We create a separate YouTube channel, so you can definitely check that show out. We got a couple of episodes of the new season up on a separate YouTube channel. It's not attached to mine. But if you did like this video, click like and subscribe. And so that when you get the inclination, you get an alert on new shows up on the YouTube channel. So once again, love you all for watching. Until next time, ciao, darling.